Everything na double double oh. Na double double. Nkatae Nkwan na double double oh. Na double double. You invited na double double oh. Na double kokonte na double double oh. Na double double. Na double double. Na double double. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Gifty. A warm and pleasant welcome to you. In today's video, we are making some peanut butter soup in Nkatae Nkwan. Now I already have a peanut butter soup recipe on the channel, but I have one subscriber who was asking me a whole bunch of questions. So to answer all the questions, I am going to do a well-detailed version for today. In the Ghana recipe, we had already blended the spices and all that and added it to the soup when we had to the meat when we started the process, when we started to film. So I'm going to go into details more in this video. So let me run you through the list of ingredients and let's make some peanut butter soup, shall we? So I have a couple of ginger here. You know, I want ginger fine. So I have a couple of thumb sizes of ginger here, and then I have about 6 cloves of garlic. I have a little bit of turmeric, especially at this time of the year. I do turmeric overload. I have 2 sprigs of rosemary. I have 2 chili peppers. I have 3 medium-sized onions. Then I have 2 tomatoes. I have a little bit of dry fish. Get a little bit of Ghana flavor in there. And then I have for my spices, I'm using I have 2 stock cubes here. I'm using the shrimp type. I have about a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves in there, a teaspoon of fennel seeds, and about a tablespoon of anise seeds. And I have a couple of peppercorns in there, if you can see it. And I have the salt to taste. I have the peanut butter here. I'm going to use the rest of this, the Ghana one, but you can use any type of peanut butter you want. Just don't use the one that has sugar in it if you get it here. And I also have my meat of choice. I'll start off by cutting the onions and the ginger and blending all these up to marinate the meat. I also have all the list of ingredients and measurements in the description box down below. I'll also add in the spices, and I'll go ahead add a little bit of water and blend this. So I'll go ahead and pour the marinade into the meat. Okay, so here's the marinated spices on the meat. Now I'm getting the yellow color because of the turmeric, and that's optional. You don't have to add it. So I'll go ahead and I salted it. Make sure your salt is enough. So I'll go ahead and cover it and let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, or you can go ahead and start steaming the meat. So here's the peanut butter. I transferred it into the sauce pot. I'll just mix it until it mixes thoroughly, and then I'll add in the tomato paste as well. Now I'll rinse the peanut butter jar and add the water into it, because you know we're not wasting anything in the kitchen. So here's the peanut butter mixture. I'm going to let it cook on a low heat because you don't want the bottom to catch, and so I'm going to let it cook until the oil surfaces on top of the peanut butter. Here's the meat. It's been marinating for about 20 minutes. Now I'm going to cover it, and the heat is on a steady heat, low medium. So I'm going to let it simmer slowly whilst I go ahead and make the peanut butter for the soup. So this is how the peanut butter mixture is looking so far. It's beginning to thicken up, as you can see. So I'm just gonna, you want to keep stirring constantly. Don't stop. You don't want the bottom of your pot to burn, so keep stirring. You gotta keep stirring. And so once the oil begins to surface on top, I'll show you. Okay, so the oil is beginning to surface, if you can see that. So I'll just let it go. It's not ready yet. I'll just let it go for a few more minutes. The heat is on low, so I'll cover it and let it go for a few more minutes, and then we'll add it into the meat. So the peanut butter is ready here, and the meat is also ready here. So I added in the dry fish as well, and if you can see, the broth smells incredible in here. So I'm just going to pour that in there. Make sure everything goes in. Go ahead and stir it, and my water is ready. I heated up some water, and I'm making a big pot of soup so I can reserve some in the freezer. So I'm going to rinse my pot and then add the water to the soup, and I'll also add in the tomatoes and the onions. This is hot water, so it doesn't bring down the temperature of the meat. But of course, feel free to use cold water if that's what you want to use. But depending, shabu. So as you can see, the bottom of my pot did not burn at all. So it's imperative that you put the heat on low whilst you are simmering the peanut butter. So at this point, I'm removing the dry fish from the soup so it doesn't fall apart in the soup. And once I'm done with that, I will go ahead and cover it and bring the soup up to a boil. Okay, so now my onions and tomatoes are cooked, so I'm going to remove them and go ahead and blend it. I also ended up adding one more chili pepper. So here's the blended tomatoes and onions and pepper. And I'll go ahead and rinse that and add it to the soup. And I'll let it boil for about 30 minutes and until it's ready. Yeah. And I'll show you when we're adding in the other types of fish. Adding the mackerel at this time. Boba is getting there. So I'll add that and the dry fish. It smells incredible in here. You should be here. And I'll add the mushrooms. There's some shiitake mushrooms that I have left over, so I'll add that to it. And I'll give it a nice stir and let it simmer for about 15-20 more minutes, and we'll be ready. Boba. Ajay. Well, look at that roll call. See your mackerel fish, your dry fish, your mushroom, your oxtail, and then your tribe. Everything is representing well. So I'm going to add in my finishing touches, which is some onions and some kakpeshito for all the daredevils who want extra spice. So I'll let it just simmer for 5 more minutes and we'll be done. So how do you know that your soup is well cooked and done? You see that the oil will begin to surface on top. That means your soup will be done. That means we be machi intino. That's it. So it's on a low heat, so I'll just let it simmer for 5 more minutes and we'll be done. And at this point, my soup is ready, so I'm skimming off the excess oil, which I can store and use it in making some stew. This is pure peanut oil. Alright family, and that is it for today. I hope you do enjoy this recipe and give it a try, and I hope I was able to answer every question. And if you do give it a try, come back and let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until we meet again, remember to stay blessed, stay out of trouble, and be well. Bye y'all. See you tomorrow.